Coming up now, Zen has the top 10 things we saw at E3. These can be anything from small statues we thought were cool to entire booth that we think stood out. Tell us what you thought was cool at E3 on our Facebook page.
Building up to number 10 is the LEGO Hulk. This large LEGO creation was there to show off LEGO Marvel's Avengers. The green not-so-giant stood tall in the corner of the booth, posing for all the photos people were taking with him. Going back in time to number 9, it's the Video Game History Museum. Located at the back of one of the halls, the museum didn't seem to get much love. With a collection of old cabinets and consoles for attendees to play, the Video Game History Museum was one of my more laid-back highlights. Rocking into number 8, it's the Guitar Hero Live booth. Sitting right across from our booth, the blaring speakers and over-the-top MCs were our best friends. Designed to give attendees the feeling of being a rock star, the booth had smoke machines, lights, and loud noises. Controlling our 7th spot, it's the Giant NES controller. Presented by 8BitDo, the Giant controller trades mobility and accessibility for style. One of the most impractical input devices, many attendees tried and failed to play Super Mario Bros. With it. Battling into 6th place, it's the 2K booth. With games like Battleborn and XCOM 2, the 2K booth was a major destination at E3. After having some hands-on time with Battleborn, it has become one of my most anticipated upcoming games. Borderlands fans should put this one on their radar. Sliming into number 5, it's the Ecto-1 at the Capcom booth. This life-size replica of the Ecto-1 from Ghostbusters took up a large chunk of the Capcom booth, showcasing a rather unknown mobile game, Ghostbusters Puzzle Fighter. It may seem strange to show off a mobile game at E3, but at least they called the right people. Springing into 4th, it's the Dark Souls 3 fountain. Just inside the convention center, this fountain is seen by all attendees entering the South Hall. The blood spray reaches a couple meters high, which is very cool. Also morbid, but cool. The future is here at number 3. From VR treadmills to a slew of new headsets, it's clear that VR has cemented itself into the gaming industry. With Oculus unveiling its newest version of the Rift and new motion controls, they seem to be leading this new frontier. Pew-pewing into 2nd place, it's Star Wars Battlefront. One of the most anticipated games at E3, Star Wars did not disappoint when we got our hands on it. The 40-player Hoth battle was both hectic and fun. Emerging from the vault into our top spot is the Bethesda booth. Fallout 4 is looking to take my game of the year for 2015, but that's not the main reason it's in the top spot. The booth beat out all the rest because of the life-size Mr. Handy. Not only that, but they had someone watching through a camera and making jokes at those who walk by. Well played, Bethesda.
So I'm here at E3 2015 with Jenny, Junior Community Manager for Media Molecule, and we're here to talk about Tearaway Unfolded.
Yes.
Now, the first Tearaway was what I think is like one of the games you need to get for a Vita, and for a lot of reasons, but more so because it uses all the like, kind of inputs on a Vita so well. But this time, Unfolded is actually on the PlayStation 4.
Yes, it is, yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about how you use the PlayStation 4 to interact with Tearaway?
So when we made the Vita version, obviously that was very specific to the Vita, console.
Yeah.
It was a world held in your hands, very much so.
Yeah.
So obviously when we thought about moving it to the PS4, we kind of had to rethink it because you can't hold the TV in your hands.
Yeah.
So what we did was we took a look at sort of, the PS4 and the DualShock 4 particularly, and we looked at that in detail, and we kind of decided to rebuild the game basically around that controller. So looking at all the inputs, the touchpad and
Yeah.
the gyroscope and the light bar, and seeing how we can just basically rebuild the game around that instead of trying to like port it over and that would just feel kind of awkward and
Yeah.
clunky. And because on the Vita version, like all the kind of interactions with the world felt very natural. Like we didn't want anything to feel gimmicky. So we wanted to kind of recreate the same thing with the PS4. So sort of making everything feel very natural, like it was made for the PS4 basically.
Cool. Can you take us through some of the kind of interactions you can have with the characters?
Yeah, sure. So you can use the touchpad to blow big gusts of wind into the world. So you can kind of swipe left and right, front to back, and that kind of manipulates the environment. And so there's lots of kind of ways that you can kind of go through levels, kind of using the wind to like jump up,
Yeah.
move things out of the way. You can also throw things into your controller now, which is very cool. So you kind of flip the controller up, and then Atoir can throw things into your controller, and you kind of hear it land in your controller, and
Yeah.
you can shake it, which is very, very cute. If you have a squirrel in there, you can rub it, and the squirrel kind of goes, which is really cool. And then you can kind of use that to so you use like the light bar to then shoot it back into the world, and you use the touchpad to just like swipe it, and then you can kind of hit enemies and obstacles and things like that. What else is there? Oh, there's a light bar as well in itself, so that kind of shines a light into the world, and that can get rid of newspaper, which is a bad thing in the game. We don't want that. And it can light up the way for Atoir, which is really cool. And I'm just trying to think what else.
Also,
there
you
is.
can use the touchpad like you could in Tearaway to kind of create your own designs, which
Yes.
appear in the world.
Yeah. So you have the cutting mat like
Yeah.
you did with the Vita version, and you use the touchpad as your kind of like your drawing kind of tool. So on that, you can use your finger to trace out, like for example, in the demo today, we need you to do like build a snowflake. So you use that to just kind of draw out a snowflake, and then you send that into the game, and that appears in the world. And if you also push down on the touchpad, that if you're on like a drum skin, that pushes it down, and then it bounces the
Yeah.
tar up into the world. So that's kind of similar to the Vita version as well.
Cool.
So yeah, it's really cool.
I'm not sure how much you could tell me, but what is the story in Tearaway Unfolded? Is it any way related to the Vita version?
Yes, yeah. So, like, if you play the Vita version, playing Unfolded will feel very familiar to you. So the core story is the same, but like all the areas have been like massively expanded. There's whole new areas as well. So, like just playing through, there's going to be lots of new stuff that you come across that you'll be like, oh, I don't remember this from the Vita version. Oh, this is slightly different. So it's going to feel like a fresh new experience. And because like the way you interact with the world is entirely different, all the challenges are completely new, and all the battles with the scraps, that's an entirely new way of playing. So it's going to feel very fresh.
What about the main protagonist, who is different in this one as well?
So it's not that she's different. With the Vita version, we kind of, spotlighted Iota.
Yeah.
But with this one, we just wanted to give Atoir some time to shine because she's very cool and she rocks. But yeah, at the start of the game, you can choose Iota or Atoir. So it's the same two characters again. Yeah, we haven't got rid of Iota. Don't worry.
Yeah, no.
I know everyone's really worried about that. We love him. He's still there. Don't worry.
Cool. So I heard there's also a companion app.
Yes, that's correct. Yes. So, say you and I are sitting on the sofa playing Tearaway. If you're playing sort of on the console, if I've got like a tablet or a smartphone, I can be sitting next to you, fire up the app, and through the app you can access the cutting mat. So that's very the same to the cutting mat in the game. And so what I can do is I can be drawing shapes, and I can be helping you out with the creative challenges. And anything I draw,
I'll need it. Yeah.
anything I draw on the app gets pushed instantly into the game. So I can just be drawing loads of shapes and pushing them into the game, and then things will be floating down, like having the snowflakes float down and stuff like that. And also you can use your smartphone or your tablet's camera to take photos, and they'll be pushed instantly into the game, and that changes like the walls and the floors and the ceilings, and suddenly like the whole of Tearaway will be like covered in polka dots or whatever you take a picture of. So it's really cool. It's like a nice second player kind of experience, because Tearaway is obviously a very single player game, but this kind of just brings in a little element of co-op play, so you can kind of sit together on the sofa and play.
Cool,
Yeah.
cool. Just lastly, can you tell us whenabouts we could get Tearaway Unfolded?
Yes, so it's coming September 8th in the US, and then September 9th in Europe, and then I think September 10th in the UK, I think. So yeah, September, so not very long. Yeah.
All right, thank you very much for talking with us.
No worries, thank you. Cheers.